Welcome to another episode of Satchats Short Stacks, where today we'll be covering the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, what it means for our nation, what it means for our money supply, and most importantly, what it means for you. I'm your host, Chris.
And I'm your co-host, Stuart Bitcoin Maxi. So this is pretty wild. They were talking about a strategic Bitcoin reserve last year during that whole election cycle. And if you're watching us from the 22nd century when the last Bitcoin has been mined, our current nation state president has signed an executive order that says, let's create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So I took a look at this executive order, and the first thing that I felt was disappointment. When I read it through, what I saw was that the U.S. was not going to buy any new Bitcoin. They were just taking the Bitcoin they already have, and they're saying, we're not going to sell it. And as a Bitcoin maxi, I was like, that's not good enough.
No.
I wanted to see, like, we're going to be buying a squintillion Bitcoin. And I'm like, yes, pump my bags, nation state, do it. But when I took some time to calm down, I saw that it's actually a good thing. Don't sell your Bitcoin. We just had number 33, Jameson Lopp, on the show, and he talked about Bitcoin being a game of attrition where you are trying to hang on to your coins as long as humanly possible so that you can part with them for the highest possible value when you need them for something. The fact that America now wants to hang on to its own Bitcoin is a good thing. So how are we going to get more? Okay. The executive order says that we can look for budget neutral ways to buy more Bitcoin.
What does that mean?
Well, first of all, it means that the United States wants to buy more Bitcoin. So let's go.
Okay.
Let's start stacking. It also means that they can't just print money to buy Bitcoin. The first nation state that prints money to buy Bitcoin is going to win, but we're not going to do that. We need to look for budget neutral ways. And this is largely, I'm sure this is because our citizenry doesn't get it yet. So they're like, hey, don't go spending our tax money on Bitcoin. Woo, you can spend all my tax money on Bitcoin, guys.
Yes.
I'm okay for American Dispatch Buy. You ain't got a DCA. No. Smash it. With my tax money, smash it.
Yeah.
So let's imagine that the administration cuts some departments, right? Lots of news headlines these days about departments that are being cut or defunded or, made smaller. Well, if you save $100 million through some government cuts,
you can spend that 100 million and stay budget neutral.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Some people might see them as, government cuts. Some people see them as like efficiency gains, however you want to come at it.
Yeah.
It's a budget neutral way. There were also some other ways. Somebody was talking about you could issue this type of thingamajig to then swoop yourself up some money. And I was like, whatever, dude.
Like a bond or something?
Something.
Yeah.
Basically, what it really means for you and for me is that the U.S. is going to hang on to the Bitcoin it has, and it's going to look for ways to buy more.
Yep.
The executive order also talked about creating a crypto stockpile. I don't think they used the same term. There's a strategic Bitcoin reserve, but it's not a strategic crypto reserve. It's like a strategic Bitcoin reserve and like a digital asset stockpile or something.
Like the little pile of kindling. And then you got Bitcoins over here, like the big logs.
Exactly.
You got the logs and then you got the twigs and stuff.
So interestingly enough, the executive order says, hey, we're going to hang on to our Bitcoin. We're going to find ways to buy more Bitcoin. We're going to hang on to our crypto. We're not going to find ways to buy more crypto. That is super interesting. So the United States is saying Bitcoin is Bitcoin and crypto, maybe it's kryptonite.
We're not sure.
And another budget neutral way to buy Bitcoin would be to sell the crypto and then use it to buy Bitcoin. Now, they can also accumulate Bitcoin and crypto through forfeitures and seizures. So, maybe they start wanting to grab Bitcoin where possible.
All right. So let's talk about these states that are potentially looking at front running the U.S. Because if the U.S. is, wasting time. That's what I would say. Wasting time trying to find all these budget neutral ways to buy and accumulate Bitcoin. And the states are not subject to some of that red tape that's slowing the U.S. down. What are they going to do? So
there are plenty of states that have introduced similar legislation, right? They want their own strategic Bitcoin reserves. And I believe Texas is the farthest along. I think they're down to just needing to have like the governor approve it and then it goes into law. But short story long, over half the states are trying to get their own strategic Bitcoin reserves. If they start buying Bitcoin, can you imagine a state buying enough Bitcoin to be richer than America?
I can, and I guarantee it's going to be Texas.
Dude, what if Texas stacks sats so quickly that they end up having a bigger stack than America? And then they're like, what kind of power dynamic would that create?
I don't know.
And that gets into the whole rabbit hole of Bitcoin changing the government, the nation state, the world, all that stuff. But just for now, imagine your state becoming richer than America. Whoa.
Yes.
So what does that mean for you and for me? Well, it means that we need to be stacking as many sats as humanly possible, because years ago, Bitcoin was just a bleep blorp that cypherpunks were able to see and understand. And over time, you've gotten some adoption among other groups. Finally, it gets financialized by Wall Street. And now you have a nation state. You have a country or a government that is saying it believes in Bitcoin, not just as an investment, but as a reserve. A strategic reserve. That terminology can't be more important, okay? The other item that we have a strategic reserve of is gold.
And oil.
And oil. Whoa, okay. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So America is saying Bitcoin is a real thing. Bitcoin is good. We're going to hold Bitcoin. We're going to buy Bitcoin. Crypto, we've got some, whatever, and we're not going to buy any more. It's very telling. So, stack your sats, because this is going to improve the exchange rate of Bitcoin. I used to say the price of Bitcoin, not true. It's the exchange rate of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is money. And now one of the most powerful states, what do we call it? Number 15, Jay talked about supercomputer, superpower. We have one of the world's superpowers that is starting to put its weight into Bitcoin. I think 2025 is going to be a pretty interesting year. So,
no doubt.
Smash the like and subscribe on this video if you are going to stack some sats right after listening to this show. Let us know in the comments below whether you think the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve is good for you or not good for you. And remember, satchats short stacks is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice.